Whether you have Japanese ancestry and you're hoping to learn more about it, or you're just curious about Japanese family registries or koseki, today's video is perfect for you. In my previous video about koseki, we talked about the history and layouts of the older and newer formats. In this video, we'll talk about how to request koseki. Make sure to stick around until the end of the video because I will be sharing with you 3 important things that you should know before you send in your application. My name is Tachi. I'm a Japanese teacher and translator. I work primarily with academics and professionals who want to level up their Japanese language skills, mainly through teaching pronunciation and pitch accent and business Japanese. I also translate Japanese family registries or koseki. こんにちは。心コミュニケーションズのサチです。今回の動画では戸籍交付申請の方法を英語でご紹介します。The information I'm sharing with you today comes from what I've learned supporting fellow Nikkei learn more about their family history. The support that I can provide comes in 2 different forms. One is helping with the koseki request process, and the second is translating koseki. I've been doing that probably for about 6 or 7 years at this point. Firstly, let's clarify who is entitled to copies of a koseki. The key to remember for this is direct lineage. If you have someone with Japanese citizenship in your direct lineage, you can request their koseki. This includes your parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. The good thing about this one is that it doesn't matter if there is an adoption somewhere along the way. This means that you cannot request the koseki of aunts, uncles, or cousins. Next, let's discuss what information you need in order to complete the application. You need to know 2 things. 1, you need to know about the person whose koseki you're requesting. And 2, you need to be able to prove your relationship with that person. Let's say I want to request the koseki of my paternal grandfather. In this scenario, I do not have Japanese citizenship. My father does not have Japanese citizenship, but my grandfather did. This is what I would need to know about my grandfather. 1, his full name. 2, his domicile, which is the address to which the koseki is connected. He may or may not have actually lived at this address. 3, the name and birth date of the head of the household. If my grandfather was the firstborn son, he was probably the head of his household. If he wasn't the firstborn son, he may have created a family branch and headed that new branch. And 4, ideally, we would know his birth date. You may be able to find this information in old passports or immigration papers, letters, or other documents kept within the family. I also need to prove who I am and how I'm connected to my paternal grandfather. I can use something like my driver's license to prove who I am, and use birth and death certificates to prove how I'm connected to him. Make sure all of the birth dates and names match up for these documents. Once you have all the information you need to know where to send the application. Send it to the local government office that houses the koseki nearest to the domicile. For most people, the easiest way would be to go to mykoseki.com. Click on Koseki Search, and then type in the village name of the domicile in order to get the correct office address in Japan. At this point, you have everything you need. Next, let's go through the process of putting the application together. There are a few different koseki application templates that exist out there and that have been proven to work, but let's use my fully bilingual template for today's example. Here's the information we have about my make-believe grandfather. His name was Taro Yamamoto, and he was the head of his household. He was born on August 1st, 1923, which is Taisho year 12. His domicile was 123 Noda Village, Minami County, Kumamoto Prefecture. In this scenario, my name is Hanako Yamamoto. My date of birth is March 5th, 1990, and Taro was my grandfather. The reason for my request is to create a family tree. According to mykoseki.com, the koseki office I need to mail my application is in Kumamoto City. Today's date is September 15th, 2024. When you're done filling out this information, make sure to add your home address and double-check that it matches the address on your ID that you're submitting, email address, and signature. The koseki office will need this information to contact you and then mail you the koseki that you are entitled to. I'll snap my fingers to magically add in the Japanese. Next, make sure you have all the documents you need to prove your identity and direct lineage. I recommend having your English documents translated into Japanese. In today's example, I'll include 1. My driver's license to prove my name and home address. 2. My birth certificate, which will show my father's name and his birth date. And 3. My father's birth certificate, which will show his father's name and birth date. At this point, I may choose to add in additional documentation like immigration or naturalization papers, or my grandfather's passport for when he first came to North America. These documents should not be a requirement, but the Koseki office in Japan may also contact you for additional information or documentation if they feel like it's needed. If they do so, sending the required documents as email attachments should be fine. Now you have your completed application form and the hard copies of all your supporting documents. Get a spare envelope that will fit A4 size paper, which, if you are in North America, that may mean you're getting a legal size envelope. Make sure to address this envelope to yourself. The last thing to do is to put the application, supporting documents, and the spare envelope that's addressed to you into one envelope and address it to the Koseki office in Japan, and then, of course, mail it. When the Koseki office in Japan is ready, they should email you to say how many Koseki they have that you are entitled to. You have to pay for each Koseki and then for the postage for everything to be sent to your home address. They may also ask for additional documentation or information to clarify a few things. Once the payment is made, they will mail your Koseki to you, and all you have to do is wait. Here are just a few of mine. As promised at the beginning of the video, let me share with you 3 important things that you should know about Koseki applications. 1. The reason for request. There seems to be a bit of a debate out there about what your reason could or should be. I've heard people say that you should write honoring your ancestors or something along those lines as your reason for requesting them. I've also come across some discussions online about some reasons not being good enough for the offices in Japan to release these documents to you. For my clients and I, creation of a family tree has always worked as a good reason, and people in Japan who use Japanese language sources also use that same reason. Next, you can specifically ask the office in Japan to send you all of the Koseki of your person of interest, which was my grandfather in our example today, and all Koseki for their ancestors as far back as the line can be traced. You can also request the Koseki of that person's mother and full maternal line as well. Note that if the domicile changed at any point in history, the Koseki connected to those other addresses will likely be housed in other offices in other parts of the country, and Koseki are only required to be kept for 150 years, so anything older than that will likely be gone. There are a few other reasons that your family's Koseki may not be available, and one of those reasons could be that they were destroyed in a natural disaster, so it is possible that the office may not be able to fulfill your request. This final point may potentially be the most important one. The way that Koseki offices in Japan can accept payment is quite limited. Basically, you'll need somebody in Japan to make the payment on your behalf. You may want to consider securing a method of payment before sending in the application. If you're interested in sending Koseki applications to Japan, feel free to reach out to me. I offer a variety of services within the application process, from translating your supporting documents to helping you complete the application form itself, to payment, or doing everything for you. I also translate Koseki if you're looking for support in that area as well. To learn more about Koseki, feel free to watch this playlist or download this free guide. If you have specific questions that you'd like me to answer, feel free to shoot me an email or leave a comment below this video. If you enjoyed the video and you found it informative, please let me know by liking the video and consider subscribing to this channel for more videos on Japanese language learning and Koseki. では、最後までご視聴いただきありがとうございました。また次回お会いしましょう。See you next time!